Eczema is not a skin issue, so it's time to stop treating it like it's a skin issue. So if you feel like you've been trapped in a never-ending battle with eczema flares, no matter what you try, and you feel miserable in your skin and the appearance of your skin makes you want to just crawl into a hole and isolate yourself from the rest of the world, then keep watching because this video is just for you. Like I said a few seconds ago, eczema is not a skin issue at all, but instead it's just a symptom of a deeper problem in your body. My name's Tammy Anderson. I'm a functional histamine expert, and I help people get to the bottom of frustrating and confusing health issues, and skin issues like eczema are very, very common with the clients that I work with. And not only that, but I have personally lived with the pain, the embarrassment, and the frustration of dealing with stubborn skin problems for over 20 years of my own life. So I deeply understand being in that place of profound just defeat and despair and just wanting to hide yourself from the world. I remember all too well spending hours in front of the mirror trying to cover up my acne and eczema and just feeling ashamed of my appearance and just desperate for a solution. So I know what it's like to lose sleep worrying and feeling ashamed about the appearance of your skin and not being able to get a good night's sleep because of the itching and the pain and the worry. It's exhausting and it's heartbreaking and it's confidence crushing. So a big purpose of this video is that I want to bring you hope. I want you to know that even if it feels like you've tried everything, all the medications, all the creams, the specialized skincare products, and on, that it is possible to put an end to your eczema flares and all the suffering that comes along with it once and for all. But here's the thing that you need to understand first. You need to stop treating eczema like it's just a skin issue and start addressing the underlying root causes of the eczema. So one of these root causes is likely related to your gut health and a condition called histamine intolerance, which you may or may not be familiar with at this point. So I personally made the mistake of treating my acne and eczema symptoms as though they were skin issues for over 20 years. And over the course of that time, I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on every lotion and potion and treatment imaginable. And it seemed like no matter what I tried, my skin symptoms just got worse and worse and worse. And it was defeating, it was frustrating, it was exhausting, and my self-confidence suffered immensely. So along the course of my journey trying to get to the bottom of my skin issues, I saw a naturopathic doctor, and she told me that my skin troubles were connected to something called a leaky gut. And at that time, the concept of a leaky gut was completely foreign to me, and I just couldn't wrap my head around how my gut could have anything to do with my skin problems. And since the doctor didn't do a very good job of explaining what a leaky gut was and how it could be causing my skin problems, I just wasn't very convinced. And when her treatment plan didn't do any good whatsoever, it didn't improve my symptoms at all, and I spent a ton of money working with her, I just, I wasn't convinced at all. And it wasn't until years later when I was desperate to heal myself from a life-threatening respiratory issue that conventional medicine treatments had not only not been able to help me with, but actually also wrecked my health even more. At that time I learned about functional medicine, and I started focusing on healing from the inside out. And a big part of that was fully addressing my gut health, from a leaky gut to microbiome imbalances, to hidden infections that I had, and impaired digestion. And just a little side note here is at that time, I was dealing with this really awful respiratory issue. And so although my skin issues were still really terrible, they weren't front and center of my attention because I thought I was going to die from this respiratory situation. So I wasn't really focused on my skin. But to my surprise, when I started addressing this truly holistically, really focusing on my gut health and healing myself from the inside out, not only did my respiratory problem completely vanish, but my skin issues and lots of other health issues that I've been dealing with for over 2 decades completely disappeared. And that is when I had like this mind-blowing epiphany that all of the symptoms I'd been experiencing for years, decades actually, were interconnected. Because the whole body is really just one system. And all of my symptoms, including my acne and eczema, were just my body telling me that there were internal problems that needed to be addressed. So it wasn't until later that I discovered histamine intolerance as the underlying issue and the crucial role of gut healing in reversing histamine intolerance and really truly healing myself from the inside out. So if you take nothing else away from this video, I want you to understand one thing, and that is that your gut is intimately connected to your overall well-being, and this includes the health of your skin. Your skin is the largest organ of your body, and when you experience skin-related symptoms like eczema, it's just your body's way of telling you that something is wrong internally that needs to be addressed. Eczema is just a symptom of an underlying problem. I cannot emphasize this enough. So here's the cool thing about your gut that you may have never even considered. Think about this. Your gut is the only part of your body that is inside the body, but also exposed to the outside world. So think about that. Your gut is essentially a long tube that goes from your nose and mouth and winds its way through your body to exit at the opposite end. So we inhale and ingest pathogens and toxins and inflammatory foods and other threats through our nose and mouth, and the gut has the enormous burden of protecting the rest of the body, like your blood and the internal organs, from those threats. So your gut lining acts as a protective barrier to protect you against these external threats. But when this lining becomes compromised, basically the cells that tightly line the gut, they loosen up and a condition called leaky gut occurs. And the gut lining becomes inflamed and damaged, and this leads to all sorts of potential problems with your health. So this leaky gut situation allows toxins and pathogens and undigested food particles and other foreign matter to enter your bloodstream, and that triggers an immune response. Your immune system basically launches a red alert, and that leads to widespread inflammation throughout your body. And the immune response and inflammation can manifest in a wide range of chronic symptoms and conditions. And yes, this includes eczema. Okay, before we dive deeper into how a damaged gut lining can lead to histamine intolerance in your eczema symptoms, I'd like to invite you to grab access to the free histamine video training I've created for you. It's going to provide you more in-depth understanding on what you're going to need to do to get long-term relief from histamine intolerance by addressing all the root causes. So towards the end of the video, I'm going to share how you can enroll in my self-guided program, the Histamine Solution Academy, where I'll guide you step by step through the process of fixing the problem from the inside out. So you can find that link to get access in the description below this video. All right, now let's get back to the gut. So when your gut lining is leaky and damaged, it compromises another critical function of the gut, which is the production of an enzyme called diamine oxidase, or DAO. So DAO is responsible for breaking down and neutralizing histamine in your body, and this prevents the excess buildup of histamine and reduces the risk of histamine-related symptoms. So when your gut lining is compromised and DAO production or function becomes insufficient, histamine levels continually build up because you're not breaking it down and getting rid of it efficiently. So think about histamine intolerance as a bucket, and your histamine bucket can get too full. So when that bucket gets too full, problems start to happen. Sort of like what would happen if you put a bucket under a leaky sink and never emptied it. So obviously, rather than just putting a bucket under the sink to catch the drips. It would make a lot more sense to just take the time to fix the leaky pipe properly to prevent further and much bigger downstream problems like rotted wood and toxic mold buildup and so forth. So it's the same exact thing with eczema. Rather than treating it topically with creams and ointments and taking medications, it would make much more sense to figure out what's causing it and fix those problems, right? So back to histamine and having a histamine bucket that's too full. So histamine has multiple roles in the body, and a big one of those roles is inflammatory immune responses. So that's why we have histamine receptors on virtually every cell in the body, because when we need histamine quickly for an immune response, we can get it to the exact spot in the body instantly from the immune cells that hold it and then release it, called mast cells, which are also everywhere in the body. So because we have histamine receptors everywhere in the body, and the mast cells that release it are also everywhere in the body, when we have too much histamine built up, our histamine bucket gets full, or a condition called histamine intolerance, symptoms can happen everywhere in the body, and that includes your skin. And yes, that also includes eczema. All right, so eczema might be your most visible sign of histamine intolerance, but there are other indications that histamine intolerance could be an underlying issue for you. So here would be some clues that you might look out for. If you experience unexplained symptoms in other parts of your body, non-skin related, like headaches or migraines, respiratory issues such as asthma or shortness of breath or chronic coughing, sinus issues, fatigue, allergies, unexplained fainting spells or drops in blood pressure, anxiety or panic attacks, ringing in your ears, a racing heartbeat, difficulty sleeping, increased urinary urgency, food intolerances or digestive issues, these are clues that histamine intolerance may be at play, because they're generally a cluster of symptoms that seem to be unrelated. So if you truly want to get to the bottom of this once and for all and free yourself of the pain and the inflammation and the embarrassment of eczema and feel just confident in your skin again, you really must shift your focus from treating eczema to fixing the root causes of eczema. So does that make sense? The difference there, we're not treating the symptoms, we want to fix the cause of the symptoms. So improving your gut health is an absolutely critical piece of the puzzle. So if you're ready to start fixing your gut and you want a strategic and effective, no guessing, no rabbit hole diving approach so that you can start feeling lighter and more confident in your skin, I've created a gut repair toolkit for you, and you can get started on that journey right away. So you'll find a link to get more information about that toolkit and get started today in the description down below this video. So when it comes to your skin health and your overall health, it's essential to understand that it is never just one thing. There are almost always multiple factors involved that create a perfect storm. And this can include nutrition issues, lifestyle factors, environmental toxin exposures, poorly managed stress, unresolved trauma, detoxification issues, gut issues such as a leaky gut, microbiome imbalances, and hidden infections. And that's why taking a really holistic approach is super critical. Pills and creams only mask symptoms and are not addressing the root causes. And that's why your symptoms just keep getting worse, not better, with all the different lotions and potions you've been using. Believe me, I've been there and I've done that, and it doesn't work. I know it doesn't work. My self-guided program, the Histamine Solution Academy, is designed to guide you through a truly holistic approach, addressing all the contributing factors from the inside out. The Academy focuses on 4 pillars: nutritional support, lifestyle and environment modifications, nervous system regulation, and detox and drainage support, along with really super strategic supplementation to support your body's innate healing abilities. So with this approach, you're truly addressing all the hidden causes instead of just treating the symptoms or partially addressing the problem. You can learn more about the Academy in my free histamine training, which you can access instantly through that link below. Remember, eczema is not just a skin issue. So it's time to stop treating it like it's a skin issue and start working on the root causes so that you can stop chasing your tail and feeling miserable in your skin. I was there for 20 years. I know what it feels like. Eczema symptoms are just powerful messages from your body signaling to you that something is amiss that needs your attention. And so by addressing histamine intolerance and healing your gut, you're not only going to get back clear, radiant skin that you can feel more confident in, but you're also going to improve your overall health and well-being and have a much better quality of life because of it. All right, if you haven't already, go watch my video titled Why a Low Histamine Diet is Not the Solution. It's going to help you understand why you can't just perfect diet your way out of this problem, which is a huge mistake that I see a lot of people making. So go check that out now, and I'll see you over there.